The third one is what I call kind of a hyper indexer. This is a really easy way to get stuff indexed, especially press releases. And we're just going to leverage Google's own products. Google loves to index its own stuff. And we've known this. We've used Google Sheets for lots of things. Use Google Docs for things. You've used Google Sheet or Google Stacks, using Google Drive, things like that. All of these strategies leverage Google's own products because Google loves its own product. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a pickup list from a press release. You're going to drop that into a Google Sheet, a new Google Sheet just for that press release. You're going to make sure that that sheet is shared through read access to the public. So anyone who has the link gets read access to it. Make sure you give that Google Sheet a good relevant name. So you might say, you use the press release title, for example, or something like that. Make sure the brand of the company is in that title. And then you're going to, in the next column over, you're going to use the hyperlink function to create an explicit link to that press release in that column. And you're just going to do that you're just going to copy and paste that into all the cells next to all of the pickups. And then you're going to use that link, the share link, as a link in another press release, often as part of a manual stack or a one-off or something like that. And then that's basically building extra backlinks to this Google Sheet. There's a few other things that I can't share in public, unfortunately, about how you might get those links indexed, but this method here is pretty beefy, and there's lots of other great things that you can do with Google Sheets. Brian over at Fusion Vine, he's got a mastermind class sort of thing that he calls Freaking the Sheets. Definitely well worth the entry fee. The things that Brian has come up with for leveraging Google Sheets is ridiculous. He uses it in his business in some extremely creative ways that I even wouldn't have even thought of. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But the core here is think of ways that you can use Google's products against them, so to speak, especially the Google Sheets. Hyperlink is especially powerful because you can, kind of programmatically create a bunch of links. You might think of other ways where you could, build some keyword relevance and things like that with this type of a methodology. There is no reason to not have multiple link columns in here as well. Obviously, don't link to exactly the same, the same keyword or anything like that, but you can absolutely, do multiple links. You could use multiple press releases in a given sheet. You can link sheets together. You can replicate your media room, for example, in a stack of Google Sheets. There's a lot of really creative things that you could do. So you could take you take an organization page, you put a link to it in your Google Sheet, you use a link to all of the other press releases in Google Sheets, and then you create a Google Sheet for each one of those press releases, and you drop the pickup list into that Google Sheet. So now you have one Google Sheet at the organization level that is kind of mirroring your media room, and that links to other Google Sheets. Each one of them is mirroring one of the press releases with its pickup lists, and then you can build links to these. You can build all kinds of backlinks to a Google Sheet. You can hammer it with whatever type of backlinks you might like. It's not going to damage that page because it lives on Google's domain. All right.